Hello viewers, welcome you all for hearing a spiritual experience. Patriji always says, experience adds to wisdom. It need not to be a self-experience for everyone. We can also learn from another person. Today we have Ms. Shravya Maulika with us. Let us hear from her about her life and meditational journey. Hello Shravya.
Hi Shalini, Namaste to all the viewers.
It's good to have you today at Pyramid Valley.
Thank you for having me here. I am very honored that today I got an opportunity to share all my experiences with you people. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
So, let us know more about Shravya today. Shravya, where were you born and brought up?
So I am born in a very orthodox family. My both parents, my father Ratnam Garu and my mother Lakshmi Garu, both of them have a career background, have a professional background. So I was born in Visakhapatnam in the year 1990 and I was the younger kid. I have a sister, elder sister. So I was born in Visakhapatnam. Later, since my parents, both of them, they are bank employees. So we used to often move to different parts of the country over on promotions and on their promotions and transfers. So for every 1 year or 3 years or 5 years, there was movement in my life.
Okay.
So with them, so the initial part, I was born in Visakhapatnam. Later I moved to Delhi from there. So my initial education, my foundation, everything was in North India in Delhi. I stayed there until I think I was 8 or 10 years. Later from there I moved to Visakhapatnam again, the place I was born. There we again stayed for 5 years. From there again moved to Kakinada, from there again moved to UP. Then later when I got job, I have moved to travel to different places, Kerala, Hyderabad, and finally landed to Bangalore.
Oh, so you had quite a different cultures and seeing varied people and got in touch with many different languages then.
Yes, that was a blessing I would say I got. Generally, they say where you are born, where you are brought up, you tend to adapt that culture. But I got an opportunity to stay in multiple places, mingle with multiple people, adapt different cultures. So if anyone asks me, from which place you belong to, I think for a moment, okay, where I actually belong to. So I do not have one place where I can say this place is mine. And I think the longest part ever, if I've stayed anywhere, it is Bangalore. From past 6 years, I've been staying here.
And I think that also with the magnetic power of Pyramid Valley, you get often come and visit here.
Yes, it is the magnetic power of Pyramid Valley and of course my purpose of life which has drawn me here. Pyramid Valley, yes, it's a beautiful place. I really love this place a lot. So first time I came to Pyramid Valley was before 6 years. I came here, I've seen everything. I really liked it. I meditated in Pyramid for some time. Later again I moved back to my place, but I never knew that I would my destiny would pull me to Bangalore. So yes, whenever I'm here, whenever we are, most of the time I think monthly once or 2 months once, we keep coming here and enjoy the energies of Pyramid Valley. So happy and to have this place here. So thanks to Patriji, such a great visionary.
Right. So how come you are into spiritual field? What was your quest?
So yes, just like any other person, sometimes the thoughts used to come into my mind that from where did I come? From where did everyone come in general? And where do we go after the death? But I did not have as in such a serious quest. I used to have these questions and I knew somewhere that in the future I'll get answers for these. And whomever people with whom I was with my family or with my friends, I knew that they did not have answer for this. So I did not ask these questions to anyone and I was very much patiently waiting for the right opportunity to come pitch in. I remember one day when I was around 7 to 8 years old, we all were watching, it was a family dinner time, and we all were watching TV while having dinner. So news was coming, and there was, because of the terrorism and all, there was a lot of chaos which was caused in the entire country. I was seeing it, and suddenly I got a deep thought. Why so much of fighting is happening? Why don't people live in peace? Why are they not living happily? And then I felt someone should stop it. I wish to stop it, but my energies alone is not enough. And me, as a single woman army or a single man army, I cannot do anything. I need a person who can lead me. A person, a master who leads me, and just standing behind him, I do all the works happily. So this was the thought I got that time. And unconsciously, I just closed my eyes and I went deep within. And that time, at that moment, I saw a vision where it was Himalayan mountains. A man in white robes, complete white robes, a kurta and pajama, was climbing the mountain. And he just turned back towards me, and then I saw his face. And he said, just wait for me. Wait for me, at the right time I'll come into your life and I'll take you. I will lead you and you will come behind me.
Oh.
I was so wonderstruck with that experience. And then there was a lot of light I could see inside me. At that time, as I did not have any spiritual background, I couldn't analyze, I couldn't even understand what was it. I just saw and I kept quiet, and with that experience, my belief in not meditation, my belief that someday I would get answers to all the questions really grew stronger. And from then, that day I was really relaxed, because I knew someday's door will open and I will go in the way for which it was destined to be.
So you had a strong willpower that you are going to crack it.
I knew it is going to happen, and then I just left about it.
Good. So from then on, you started pondering into what is spirituality, and you started diving into it.
To be honest, no, not at all. After this, I was into my regular life, how a girl or a boy of that age would be: studies, tuitions, music, playing with friends. So that was a normal life which I was leading. After the chapter of Visakhapatnam was over, from Delhi we moved to Visakhapatnam. Then there I almost studied, I think, till 5 or 6 years then from there. And after that, my parents, they got transferred to Kakinada. So I remember it was my 9th class. I finished 8th class, and we all went to move to Kakinada on a transfer. After we went there, the day one, my father, he met with an accident. A very minor accident, but he met with an accident. And that was the day actually when we were shifting to the new house. So we shifted, we got this news, we went to the hospital. It was just a fracture, a normal fracture. Then they said he needs some 2 weeks or 3 weeks of time, and maybe if he gets 1 month of time, it would be like he would heal completely. So then, of course, my mom, she is an independent woman. So my dad and mom, they have taken the equal responsibilities in the family, just like it happens in any other family. But I know my mom as a very proactive person. She is there in every field with my dad. It's not like this department is mine and this department is just yours, but be cooking, cleaning, finance, taking care of the kids, everything they used to share equally. So at that time, obviously because of the accident and the rest, he had to take rest for another 2 to 3 weeks, and the entire responsibilities came onto my mother.
Okay.
Although it was not a problem, but it was a new city for us for that time. And we had to join schools. My sister had to join the college. My mom had to figure out her bank. She had to go there, come, and all the rest of the things she had to take care. So this was the situation that time. And my father, he is a people's person. So there was a huge crowd in our house every day. People used to come meet. There used to be chit chats. It was like a celebration mode, as if, and then they used to leave. So So at that time, my father's friend, he was a judge in the High Court. His name is L. Apparao Garu.
Okay.
So he came to visit my dad. He met my dad and he was a Reiki healer.
Okay.
And then he said, why don't, he has done some healing to my father, and he said, why don't you send your wife to the Reiki classes? It is just within 2 days it's going to start. So if she learns Reiki, she can use that healing power within the family.
Okay.
So then my mom and dad, they said, no, the entire responsibilities is over her. So obviously she cannot go somewhere, and it was a 4 days workshop where you have to sit there for 12 hours and 18 hours. So it was not possible for her. Then the next option was my sister, my elder sister, and she just joined in the second year. So it was a hectic year for her because of the MCET exams and all those things. So even her option was ruled out. So as there was no other option, the ball came to my court, and I was only told, I did not knew about all these things. My parents just came to me and they said, go with uncle and auntie to a place, they'll take you to a place, go there and come back. They didn't tell me what it was, where I was going. When I was asking, and even I couldn't ask any questions at that time because of the situations at home.
Right.
I asked 1 or 2 questions, but I was not given the relevant answers because even they didn't knew what was it. So I was thinking anything apart from the school is better. So I just said fine, and I went with them. So then the Reiki workshops was like for 4 days, and if it used to start around in the morning at around 11 or 12, and it used to go till night 1 or 2, and it was a continuous workshop. So even I didn't knew what was it. After I went there, I saw some 10 people were there, and they said this is a Reiki workshop, it's a spiritual workshop. I'm like fine, but once the workshop started, there was a guru who used to tell about all the things. When he started speaking, he spoke about soul, 7 bodies, healing, and astral travel, other dimensions, other gurus. He spoke about many things. After hearing to all those things, that time I felt I'm a very good student, because generally whenever I used to attend any classes, my dhyan, my attention was not always completely there. I should look here, there. That focus was missing, and I thought I was really not a good student. But in that spiritual class, that Reiki class, the entire 14 to 18 hours, I was just like this, listening to whatever they are saying, without yawning, without sleeping. It was like I was just taking all that knowledge. And that day I was surprised that okay, something is there, like soul, the other bodies, other dimensions, other gurus, healing, so many things are there. I was surprised. So I was very happy I got introduced to it. But yes, the meditation technique that they taught there, I did not, for me, I felt it was not right for me, because you have to focus, you have to invite someone, there's a lot of procedure. So 3 things which I felt why that place is not my place was the meditation technique. Second thing, as the guru comes, you have to fall into their feet.
Okay.
I even didn't knew who was the other person, but it was a Vidhi
Mandatory.
Vidhan, yeah, that you have to, take their blessings. And then the third thing which I felt was not right was there was a money exchange. So apparently there was a fees which was paid for the workshop, and after learning something, I had a thirst to share it. Only then I would understand it better. But there was a clause that you cannot share anything with others. If you share, you lose it. So after the 4 days workshop was over, I was totally transformed, because I got a lot of clarity in my life. I understood that yes, spirituality is the purpose of my life. But again, I waited patiently because I knew that I had to find the right meditation.
Okay.
So then I just thought to myself, okay, let me wait. I knew that it was very coming soon to me. It was coming, that right meditation was coming to me. I could see it. So I waited patiently that one day I would definitely get it. And I did not practice Reiki because it involves all healing to others, and somewhere my inner did not agree to heal others. I always felt everyone has to heal themselves. Don't know from where it came. Definitely it would have come from my past life. So I knew that healing others or others healing me was not right.
Okay.
It has to happen naturally. So then I just left it there, but I was very happy that I found the purpose of my life, and from then I was more relaxed. because I found out that spirituality is the way, and I was just waiting calmly, quietly for the right meditation to approach me.
So from then on, you started marching towards the spirituality and your interest started. So how come you came into this pyramid movement?
Yes. So we were there in Kakinada. After 3 years from there, again we moved back to Visakhapatnam. So it is then I decided that I have to practice some meditation. Let the right meditation come, meanwhile I'll practice it. So I was just in that zone that, which meditation I have to practice. And I decided that, I'll do meditation for 41 days. Meanwhile, through internet, by going to other societies, some of the societies, I got information about other meditation techniques as well. But none of the techniques gave me that satisfaction. So I decided, let me do some meditation for 41 days. And on that same day when I decided, I got a call from my aunt, my atta, who's my relatives, my father's sister. She called me. It was a full moon day. She called me, and over call she was telling me that I learnt meditation. It is almost a week I have learned, and I am very happy with this. I want to share it with you. So I was thinking, anyway I am searching for meditation, let me see if this is that meditation. So she told me the technique of meditation, and I asked, is that so? Is that the only thing? There's nothing you have to visualize or you have to focus upon? She said, no, it's very simple. And in Reiki I had to sit straight. Here we can lean to the sofa and
back support is there.
back support. So that one I really liked. So I was like, okay, I learned the entire technique. Then I said, okay, then what is the fees? How much I have to pay you? She said, no, there's no fees. It's out of my volunteer action I'm doing it. And the fees would be, you go and teach to others. And then she gave me lot of information, whatever she had. And I asked, can I share it with others? She said, share it with everyone. So that was the second point I really liked. Then I asked her, who's the guru? Who's the person who's leading the movement? She said, there's a founder of this movement. His name is Brahmarshi Patriji. So he's the one who started it, and he has many people are just in tune with him, in sync with him. And then I was asking, so when I meet him, do I have to fall on his legs, or what is the process? She said, no, he's a friend to all. He just treats others as he would, treat his closest friend. Even you go and talk to him, he'll give you an opportunity. And I was surprised to know that a person like this actually exists in the world. And then I was like, okay, let me try. So that is how my introduction to Anapanasati Dhyan started. And then I meditated for 41 days and I completed my first mandala meditation.
So these 41 days you were doing only Anapanasati meditation?
Yes, I had information about different meditations. Although in the first 2 days when I started doing meditation, I tried to do the Reiki meditation. But during the process of meditation, naturally the Reiki meditation went away and I started being with my breath.
So your breath took you to this place?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So what was your initial experiences in those 40 days?
So in the first 41 days, when I started meditation, the first 2-3 days, I started going to Pyramid Dhyan Kendra, which was there in Visakhapatnam. I used to go there. I used to meet masters, attend their classes. So from them, I got the information about, when I went there, they said, you are a god. Hello, my dear friends, masters and gods. So these kind of statements, and even they were such senior pyramid masters, they used to treat me very well. I was surprised that how come a youngster who's a teenager given so much of respect. So it was very easy for me to mingle with them, and I used to hear all those experiences. Every day I used to go to the Pyramid Meditation Center, which is there in Sitamdhara, Visakhapatnam. It was Mahavatar Babaji Pyramid Meditation Center. Okay. So that was the first center where I went, and every day there 2 to 4 sessions used to happen. I used to go, I used to attend, and I used to listen to others' experiences. So I started getting all the information. Although I did not have any anubhava, I got all the information. Then when I sat in meditation, it almost took me initially almost a week to settle down and calm down. So every day I used to wait, when will the alarm ring, when will the 15-16 minutes happen. But eventually in 10 days I totally got calm, and then slowly my third eye got opened, and all the things which we actually fail to see with these two eyes, I started seeing those things. So my mom and dad, they do pujas a lot. So one day it so happened, at the end of the mandala dhyan, I told my parents I'm doing meditation, and they are very supportive. They said, whatever you want to do, you do. We always support you. So I just came in, sitting in meditation. My mom was doing puja and my dad was doing some work. And I saw that all the masters, Lord Shiva, he came with a team of many devas and devtas, all of them, and he gave me darshan. He just came and appeared in front of me. I was surprised, and I asked him, all these years when we were doing puja, my mom is still doing puja there, you never appeared. How come in meditation you have appeared?
Okay.
And then he said that, see, you and me are not different. You are also a God, I am also a God. You are an unrealized God and I am a realized God. The way you can become like me is by doing meditation. So you are in the right path, continue doing meditation. So this experience totally changed my perception towards pujas, gods and all those things. Then immediately after dhyan was over, I opened the door. Some kind of fire was there in me, and I said, no more puja part from today at home. So my mom and dad, they were very much surprised, and they said, what happened? I said, I saw Lord Shiva. Did you people see so far in all this pujas? And they said, no, we didn't. Then I said, stop pujas, let's convert that into a pyramid room and let's all meditate together. So my dad, he came and he said, no, let's wait. Let's make a deal. We will do puja part. You don't interfere into our lives. Don't pull us to the dhyan. And similarly, you do dhyan. We will not pull you here. So I felt that was a fair deal that happened, because they will never interfere in my life. So I was happy. Yeah, I was like, okay. And then that's how my first 41 days ended. And then I decided that yes, this is the right meditation. This is the right path. I have to be here.
So all this happened when you were doing your college schooling, when it was?
So it was almost after my 10th class, I think in +1 or +2.
Oh.
I think in +2, yeah. My intermediate, it was in the intermediate second year.
Okay. So all these 41 days, and you were able to witness the Shiva consciousness when you were in the school days. Good to know that. So from there, how was the journey?
Yes, so my 41 days dhyan got finished, meditation got finished. After that, it was like on and off. Then one incident happened in my life which totally made me ensure that this is the path and there is no going back. So in my after the MCET exams, the result came out. I wanted to join in a university. I wanted to study in a university, but for the kind of marks I got, I would get a good college but not a university. So then I was very much adamant that I want to study in the best college. Of course, with my parents' donation and all, I was not interested, because once they pay, I don't want it to hear throughout my life that, because of the money, it was a forced pay and all. So, but I wanted to study in university. That thirst was there in me. So one day when I went to a pyramid dhyan kshetra, they told me that you can achieve anything. Anything in the materialistic life is possible when you are with your breath, with your dhyan. So then I thought, if this is really the truth, if this is the right statement, then I should get my university seat. So I decided that every moment, it's not that 1 hour or 2 hours I'll do meditation, but every moment I'll be in meditation by being with the breath, and I want to achieve that goal.
Okay.
So this happened in the year September 1st, 2007, and I decided, and that from that day I started practicing to be in the moment. It took me almost 2 to 3 days to be in the moment alone, means to eradicate all my thoughts 24/7.
Okay.
And then after a time, a state came where there were no thoughts at all. I was able to achieve that meditation state in the day-to-day life. After that, within 11 days, a miracle happened. When I went to the counseling, just one seat in the university was there,
Waiting for you.
waiting for me. And I took it and I got that, and all people, my friends who got even better marks than me, they couldn't get a good college. But me getting an average score, I was able to get a seat in the university. And that merely happened because of the meditation practice. And then automatically all my family members and everyone, they started doing prachara about the dhyan. They started telling she's doing dhyan, that's why she was able to get it. So after this experience, I understood that anything in this life, materialistic life, can be achieved if you are in meditation, through meditation. So from there was no going back.
So that made you anchor yourself into this movement.
Yes.
Great to hear that. So when did you see the man with the white robe?
Man with the white robe, okay, I saw him, I think, when I was 8 or 9 years, and later, just before few years, when I was watching a movie in the theatre, same kind of circumstances, war, I was seeing some war movie, I do not remember the movie's name, it was some Hollywood movie. When I was seeing it, there was so much of war. The thought that I got many years ago, why so much war, why don't people live in peace, same thoughts started coming back. Why so much war is happening, why are these people fighting? And suddenly, I got a vision where I went to my childhood, where I was seeing TV, that all things was happening. Then that question arose and I saw man in the white robe. Then I was seeing him, who is he? I was just focusing and I saw it was Patriji. Then I was wonderstruck, okay, the guidance was there from such a long time.
Even before you started meditation?
Even before my questions, the time my questions started.
Just like probably the moment which made you turn.
Yes.
So it's good that you were able to identify yourself and connect to that situation.
Right.
Good, nice to hear. So how about your career after your college? So was this also a kind of manifestation?
Yes. So when I was, I joined the university, there I completed my engineering 4 years. It is Gayatri University, it's a deemed university now. So when I joined, it was almost about to become a university. After I joined, it was a university. So I came out actually with a university degree.
Okay.
So once I went there, 4 years I was in hostel, and my parents that time they got transferred to UP. So I joined the hostel and my only work was do meditation regularly, read books, because then there was no one at all to interfere in my life. It was a free life, and whatever I used to learn, I used to teach to everyone. Every Saturday, Sunday, I used to go for an outing. I used to with my aunt who taught me meditation. I used to stay with her in the weekends. I used to go to all the classes. That time I attended Premnath sir class, Balakrishna sir class, and all the pyramid masters, whoever was there in Visakhapatnam, I used to attend the classes. Whenever sir used to come there, it was a hi-bye conversation. I used to go, I used to meet him and come back. So after this, one day I decided that okay, I want to go into a career, because in my family, since both of my parents are into job, they have trained me from my childhood that a woman needs to have a job. Only then she'll have the independence. I don't say it's always true, but because of that upbringing, it was very much obvious that I have to have a job. And my elder sister, by then she was already into job. She got placed.
Okay.
She even joined her company. So I decided that even that is going to be my path. So again, when it was the time of campus recruitment, when I decided that one, I have to get 2 jobs, because I am from a chemical engineering background, and it is so said that from chemical engineering much of the campus recruitment doesn't happen.
Right.
So just to break the myth that why will things won't happen, because one pattern comes and people start believing it. So all my friends, they were believing that it's hard to get a job. That is when I decided that I will not just get 1 job, but I get 2 jobs through the campus recruitment. That is the sankalpa which I had.
Okay.
And I wanted, in a way, that I was seeing a lot of movies, right? So some people have a tough time, some people have a smooth time. So I thought I should get 2 jobs. In one job it should be damn tough, and in the second job it should be damn smooth, just like a cakewalk. And it so happened, first I got an interview. My first interview was with TCS, which was very tough. I was the only person who was interviewed for 1 hour, 1 to 1.5 hour technical round, but I cracked it and I got it. Later, already it was a success for me, because hardly people from my department was getting jobs. So already it was a success for me. After that, I got another offer from Wipro. So basically, a person who already gets a job is not invited for a second job.
Correct.
Because a chance has to be given to everyone.
Right.
But I somehow I got the job. I got the opportunity to fill the application. I don't know how it happened. I filled it and I went back thinking it's over. Then I got call from Wipro that you got shortlisted, please come back for the interview. So all the way from city to my college, it's almost 15 kilometers away. I went back and I gave the interview. And in the interview, as we are speaking, the same way the interviewer was interviewing me, and it was just, he asked me about my family background, my hobbies, and I got the job. So it was a both tough time, a tough phase and a smooth cakewalk phase. Both of them I was able to experience, and that was a part of my own creation. I wanted my reality to be like that.
Right. You were able to create your reality with your thoughts.
Right. So I got the job, engineering was over. I moved back to UP where my parents were, and there just within a month or 2, and I decided that now I have to do spiritual service. This is the time. Within a month or 2, I got the offer from Wipro, and they asked to join, but I didn't wanted to join. So silently I rejected the offer. I didn't tell in my family also, because if an opportunity comes and if they feel it's right, they'll push me to go. So I did not inform them, and after few days I told them, and I heard my scoldings for that. And after again I think 2 to 3 months, I got an opportunity from TCS, and they requested to come. So that time we again moved back to Kakinada. I don't know, again we got a transfer to Kakinada. We went there, and I started teaching meditation to people again, as it was a part of the life. And then when the offer came, my mind was frozen, because once I get into job, I will not have that free time to do pracharam.
Okay.
So I thought, let me not take the job. I went to my parents and I told, I don't want to do job. And TCS gave an offer saying, either you join now, or you join after 6 months, or you can also join after 1 year.
Oh.
I thought, let me take the 1 year option. And when I asked my parents, they said, it is your wish. You want to go, you don't want to go, or you want to go later. As parents, will support you. But I knew if I stay back, some or the other day, I have to go out on my own.
Right.
So I was confused whether to stay or whether to go. But with that, in that time, rightly, a pyramid master, they called me and they were asking me how my life is. And I told them that, there are 2 options, I'm confused. So that person at that time, he did not have job. And he was telling me, I'm into meditation, but I still don't have job. You got a job, utilize it, go ahead in your life, earn your own money, earn your own freedom, you'll be able to contribute more. At that time, it didn't make much sense to me, because through my parents, I was already financially independent, I had all the freedom in my life, but still somewhere I felt maybe that's the right option. And that way I moved on with the career. I chose to immediately take the offer. Within a week, I shifted myself to Trivandrum, Kerala, where initially the first 3 months of training happened. And then I wished that I would come back to Hyderabad or Bangalore somewhere, but after the training was over, they posted me to Kochi, and that was the pathetic part, because I didn't wanted to settle in Kerala, and they said mandatorily I have to work there for 1 or 2 years.
2 years, okay.
So I went to Kochi, but I didn't stay there for 2 years again. I went to Kochi, I worked almost for 11 months there, and certain incidents happened through which I had to, through my willpower, I again came back to Hyderabad.
So because from your childhood, you've been habituated to go around different places.
Right.
But after coming into this meditation, And especially in the PSS movement, the main two things are meditation and vegetarianism.
Right.
So how was your transformation into it, and how could you place yourself when you kept moving in spite of like your job, your career? How were you able to manage yourself?
Yeah. So I'm born in a vegetarian family.
Okay.
In my family, they don't even, the plus point, the advantage is they don't bring garlic, they don't bring mushroom, and there's no microwave or oven.
Oh,
So somehow from my childhood those principles were followed. So never was a time, except when we used to go out for eating in hotels, maybe that time obviously garlic would have come. Otherwise the option of garlic, mushroom and microwave was ruled out from my, it was not a part of my life, in my family's life. So yes, we were moving in different places, but every time we have home food, so that was never a problem for me. But yes, it was a very nice question asked. When I moved to Kochi, Kerala, that is when I faced a lot of problem, because in Kerala hardly you find any vegetarian restaurant. As in here in Bangalore, hardly we find non-vegetarian restaurant, like there's only few. Similarly there you'll hardly find only a vegetarian restaurant. So there was only one restaurant which was called as Arya's, which was actually kept from Tamil Nadu, on the basis of Tamil Nadu. So if at all I had to eat out, I used to eat there. And it was, yes, it was definitely a challenge, a big challenge to eat outside. And I remember when once before all these things, when I met Patriji, I asked him, I used to go to different workshops, and in different workshops different knowledge was shared. And in one workshop they said, don't eat any milk products. If you eat, it will be a part of your karma and all those things. So when Patriji came once, I asked him, so these people are saying not to eat milk products, so shall I stop all these things? Then he said, no, the cow, the buffalo, all those animals, they love to give their milk to us. So never stop taking milk, never stop consuming milk, take milk products. But if you want to be enlightened, do not eat garlic. So then I understood. I was actually wonderstruck. He didn't say, if you want to be enlightened, meditate. He didn't say, teach meditation. He didn't say, if you want to be enlightened, read books. He said, if you want to be enlightened, don't eat garlic. I was surprised. Just by not eating garlic, will I be enlightened? So from there, I tried to follow to my best without, so all my friends used to cook and I used to cook separately. So we all used to go out for dinner, but I never used to have anything. I used to have ice cream with them, and I never used to pay for, even if it was my treat, it should only be a vegetarian meal. So these rules were there, and when we were in Kochi, we moved to a very good house. It is a very luxurious house, I would say, a 3 BHK, and we all stayed we had a very good life there, good lifestyle there. But it so happened, I was continuously in dhyana. I used to try to teach meditation. Of course there, I don't know, after moving there, I didn't see any opportunities even to do dhyana prachara.
okay.
So as we do here, it's not there. And once so happened that all my friends knew that, I was totally into spirituality and all these things. Once in the year December 2014, I got high fever, and there was completely so many rashes on my body. I didn't understand what happened, because I was thinking that I'm into meditation. Not me, more than me, others were thinking she's into meditation, a vegetarian, doesn't eat garlic, and so many, a high fever with all the rashes came. So at that time I didn't have so much of knowledge that we shouldn't go to hospitals and all those stuff. So I went to hospital for a regular checkup. They said you have to, get admitted here, or if you are at home you have to be isolated. It was that time when I did not even have energy to lift my hand.
Oh,
To even when I used to speak, naturally the words used to, it never used to come out in that phase of 1 week. That time I did not understand what is happening. What exactly did I do wrong? That, all these things is happening to me. As Patriji said today's morning, that, nothing happens overnight, or, nothing comes without a reason. So I was thinking, what happened? What did I do? Did I harm anyone? Why? I'm not even able to lift my hand or leg. it was like I had to take rest for 1 week. But from my inner, I was very strong that how many ever dark phases come into my life, I will never leave meditation. People may talk anything, those all people are ignorant. And the beauty of that phase was my confidence over me increased. I decided this is the path. Whatever happens, even if I'm on the deathbed, I'm not going to leave my meditation. I'm not going to leave that belief over this path. That 1 week I was very strong from my inner, however my body would be. And later I understood, later after many years, that was a reason, that time was a major transformation, because that time my energy levels went totally to zero. Means my older patterns, my older things were just getting rid of me. Because if something new has to channel, the old has to go out.
Correct.
So that time all the old was going out. That's why even I was not able to lift my hand, because the energies were totally zero. After 1 week I recovered, and I don't know what changed in me. I had a strong urge to go back to Hyderabad, because I knew that PSS movement was totally there. So a strong urge came in me. I have to go back to the place where the movement is there, where spirituality is there. So I decided, I went to my manager, I said, hey, give me a transfer. And he said, at least till minimum 2 years I won't give you. And at that time I got this book called as Magic by Rhonda Byrne.
Yeah. The secret author.
Right. So in that book it was said that, with gratitude you can get anything. So I thought, let me try this. Already I have tried meditation, let me try this. So they said that whatever you want in your life, be so much grateful to universe that they have already given you.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, okay, let me try this. So I started telling universe, thank you universe for placing me into Hyderabad. And this was
Like
my
a future
daily,
tense.
yes, this was my daily, routine. As in, I used to get up in the morning, I used to say, thank you for keeping me in Hyderabad. So this was the thing I used to repeat. After some days, I thought, no, I should take it to extreme. I should show to universe that I believe in it. And it was the month of March. So I went to my office, I opened IRCTC portal. I saw what was the weekend dates on May first week. It was some 5th or 6th. So on May 2014, around May 5th or 6th, what did I do? From Kochi to Hyderabad, I booked the tickets to go. I booked it and I freezed it. And from there, to show to the universe that I believe in you more, my parents at that time, they got transferred back to Kakinada. So from Hyderabad to Kakinada, it was a 12 hours journey. So what did I do? From May till August, for every weekend, I booked the tickets. From Hyderabad to Kakinada, Kakinada to Hyderabad for the weekends.
My goodness.
Friday
So without
to
even
Sunday.
knowing, you wanted to go to Hyderabad, and from there to your parents' home also you have booked the tickets.
Yes, I booked it almost for 3 months. Means whatever salary I had, I totally used it in booking the tickets, my savings. So I have almost done till August to September. And I did not tell this to anyone, neither to my parents, nor to my friends, to colleagues, no one, because I didn't want their energy of doubt to add in my goal. I am focused, I know I will achieve, but if those people's energy they add, they say it won't happen, it may not happen, you're behaving ignorant. I didn't want their energies to add up there. So I didn't tell anyone. And every day I used to, after I booked my tickets, every day I used to go to my manager and I used to say, please do something about my transfer. Every day I used to request him. So every day he used to ignore me, but after 2 or 3 weeks he started considering it. Then he said, okay, let me talk. In that way, within a month, 1.5 months, my transfer got approved. And exactly on March 3rd and 4th, where I booked the tickets to Hyderabad, on March 1st my transfer got approved. And they said, when you want to go? I said, my tickets are already booked, I want to go day after tomorrow. And exactly on the tickets I booked, I used all my tickets as per what I have planned. So this was one practical approach of gratitude which I followed in my life, that if you are really grateful to the universe for whatever you want, you will definitely get it. So this was my experience, and a beautiful experience which I liked, and because of which my confidence in myself grew more.
Wow, this is somewhat interesting.
Yes.
In spite of going to another place, you booked your tickets for about 3 or 4 months.
Yes.
So, what a kind of confidence you had on the nature and your surrenderness and gratitude. We can just see it through the incident. So lovely to hear that. So, how come it took turns after you come into Hyderabad?
Yes. So I came to Hyderabad. There I was. It so happened that I met my childhood friends again. I shared a room with them. So then, around I think 10 months I stayed in Hyderabad. So almost May, June I came to Hyderabad. From June, yes. So in the month of June I visited June, July I visited Kartal. So that was my first visit to Maheshwara Mahapyramid. I went there with the intention that some doors should get open for me, that what works next I should do. I moved to Hyderabad, that was a relief. I was in a known circle, that was a relief. I was in a place where PSSM was, main core PSSM is there, that was a relief. But I wanted to contribute a lot. A thirst to do lot of works was, it was like a burning desire inside me. And I was just waiting for the right opportunity or someone who could guide me. So it was then I went to Maheshwara Pyramid taking my two friends, and we went there one day, and the moment we went there, a person, he was there, he was meditating in King's Chamber. Even today I don't know his name. When I went there, he said, "Oh, you have come, I've been waiting for you." And I was looking back, is he waiting for me or someone else? So I said, "Are you talking about me?" He said, "Yes, I'm waiting for you. Yesterday night I got the message that you're going to come here." And I was surprised, okay. But yes, I was not surprised in a way. I was surprised that yes, someone is waiting, and that kind of incident is happening in my life. But I was not surprised that person is waiting for me, because I wanted someone to show me the path.
Right.
Then I was continuously shooting questions to him. What is this? What is that? What is life? What is death? What are these masters? How can I connect more? How can I contribute more? And very patiently for 1 or 2 hours we were there in the King's Chamber. He was answering to our questions. So after that we went to cafeteria. There was a small cafeteria which was then getting built, and my friends were asking me what books should we read, and whatever questions they were asking, he was closing his eyes and then he was answering. Then I understood, okay, he seems to be a channel, so let me also put these kind of questions. So I asked, "Sir, what book should I read?" And he said, "You read Autobiography of a Yogi. By the time you finish this book, your life will totally transform." Then I decided, yes, I'm going to start reading the book. I immediately took the book, I started reading it. And in that book, already I knew that whoever reads that book, Mahavatar Babaji appears before them, either in dreams or in meditation or physically. So before I started the book, I was making a deal with Babaji. I was telling, "I am reading this book. You ensure you come and give me a message." So the day I opened the book, immediately I saw him. I sensed him. And he was continuously appearing in front of me. Then I closed the book and I said, "It's not just, coming and going. I want a strong message. Please give me a strong message which should transform my entire life. My life should just transform. And I'm waiting for that message." So I completed the book. It took almost 2 to 3 months. It took time. I finished the book, and after finishing the book, every day I was waiting. I was going to sleep and I was waiting. Babaji would come in the dream. I was doing more meditation, expecting he would come. He didn't come. Almost 16 days passed. He didn't come. Then I started crying. He is not coming as per he has promised. Then I thought, okay, let me wait. And then my friends, my roommates, they were sharing experiences with Babaji. We saw him, he gave us this message, and I was thinking, it's not fair. I completed such a big book and he is not coming. Then one day, I just forgot about it and I slept. I totally forgot about the incident of Babaji, and I'm waiting for him. And that day, in dream, he came and he said, he just came as in his regular appearance, and I was just following him. Wherever he was going, I was following him. And he was not acting, he has taken the role of Patriji, like how sir comes, meet all people, and all similar way I was seeing him.
It was like a role play.
Yes, as we see sir, same role he has taken there. People were meeting, he was shaking hands with everyone. So I was just, just following him. Then he suddenly turned back and he said, "Don't waste your time by following me. Do your work." Then I was wonderstruck and I said, "Sir, Babaji, what should I do? Where is my goal? Where should I go? Please guide me." Then he said, "Don't follow me. Do whatever you want, but don't follow me. Do your work for which you have come." And then he gave a message that the time has come that you go from, you get handed over from Babaji to Brahmarshi Patriji. So he showed the message saying B1 to B2. I didn't understand what is this B1 to B2 and what is all B1 and B2. That is the message he gave and he left. From there I was waiting, okay, what is this B1, what is this B2? I did not get any decode of that message, and every day I was waiting, I could get some decode. Then later in December I went to Dhyana Mahachakram. I went with this question to ask sir, but obviously I couldn't meet sir in a way that I could ask the question. It was only a handshake, and that time it was not, I was not that close to sir. Then later in January I met Ayappa, and he decoded my message. When he asked me, "Tell me any of your recent dreams," and I would love to decode it. So then I said, "Yes, I have one dream for which I was waiting," and I told him about this entire dream, and he said B1 to B2. B1 means in your past lives you have been with Babaji, and the time has come for you to move to the next phase of your life, that is Patriji. Then I asked him, "What after Patriji? Where I have to move next?" He said, "No, that is the ultimate thing where you have to move. Once you go to him, once you meet him, there's no going back, or there's no going beyond. Nothing is beyond him." And this clarity I got from Ayappa. So I was very thankful for his decode. And then in April, I met Sir Patriji in Spiritual India office. I went there only to meet him. So I went there, and surprisingly, every time he comes, I never opened my mouth. He used to ask me, tell me whatever you want to say. All the past years I never opened my mouth. But that day when I went to him, he was cutting vegetables. That was my first, powerful meet, I must say. He said, "Come sit." And he was asking me, "Tell me about yourself." For almost first 5 minutes, I didn't speak anything. And I was scared to speak. And I was just looking down, up. I just wanted to run away, literally. Then he said, "Have you come so far to be silent?" I said, "No, sir." He said, "Just tell whatever you want. I'm here. I'm there to hear you." So then I slowly opened up. I told how did I come to meditation and what all things happened so far. And then I said, "Sir, I need your guidance further. I want to work a lot. Please guide me." Then he said, "We have just met, right? Let me analyze about you. Let me understand you better. Then I will guide you." So with this meet, it had a very profound impact on me. And even he said that, "You don't add new to me. I feel as if, I met you many times earlier." And ignorant me, I was saying, "Yes, sir, we met in that Dhyana Mahachakram. We met in this meet." Where later I understood he meant about the previous lifetimes. So yes, that was my first meet with Patriji, and from then every time whenever he used to come to Hyderabad, which was almost once in a week or once in 2 weeks, I always used to go and meet him. So after that, in my second meet, when I went to him, and it was the time when Souvenir 25 years book was getting released. So it was that phase when I went to him, and I was telling him how's my life going on, what all works I'm doing. And that time he asked me to take the entire responsibility of Spiritual Science Museum website. And I was again surprised, because I said, "Sir, I think you don't know about me. I don't have that much capability. I am a very normal person who has an ordinary skill set." Then he said, "No, I want you to take care of that entire website. And that is my wish. Won't you do it?" I said, no, sir, I'll definitely do it. I will give a trial. I'll do it with the team. He said, no, I want you to do it. I want you to take the responsibility. And I was surprised, and again I was thinking, okay, maybe he needs more time to understand me. But that was purely my ignorance, of course. But then I thought, okay, something is there. Maybe doors will get open. Let me see. And then I told him, sir, I don't know why, what. Here in Hyderabad, I feel very disconnected. Although here there are pyramid masters, everyone is there. I don't know how to work, from where to start. So shall I stay here or shall I move to Bangalore? That is when he said, move to Bangalore, go there. And once you go there, new doors will open, your consciousness will expand, you will do a lot of works. With this statement, he said, so next time I'm going to see you in Bangalore. And I was like, okay, yes sir, mostly. And it almost after that, my project took such a turn. Generally, the project where I went, it was a contract of 2 to 3 years. But after this meet happened and I went back to my project, all the systems, my softwares, everything stopped working. I didn't understand why. I was calling to technical team, support, nothing worked. And forcefully, unwillingly, they had to move me out of the project. Then I was out of the project. Immediately the next day when I had to report to my RMG, I requested, I want a transfer. Generally, if you don't have a project in your hand, you are not moved. You have to have a project. Through the project, you can move. But that RMG immediately he approved. He said, yes, you can go. And he gave me a bench to bench transfer. That means there I was on bench.
Yes.
Here after coming to bench, then I can select a project.
Yes, yes.
So after I came here, it was almost, I think, within 2 to 3 days of that. I mean, after the project was over, within 2 to 3 days I was in Bangalore. In June 1st, yes, I was in Bangalore in 2015. And then, oh my God, so many doors opened. I got to meet all of you, the entire team here, the big team, the websites team. At that time, Pyraminds was also started. So there was a big team there here in Valley. So I got a lot of friends, I got a lot of works. And from then, yes, I remember once sir saying me, your meditation phase is over. You don't have to do meditation anymore. If you want, you do, but it's not a need. You have to now work. So that is where, you have to focus. And I was literally jumping because for me, sitting in meditation is a boring job. So I was very happy. And yes, after coming here, it's again been a great journey of works, and only works.
Yeah, so after coming to Bangalore, I feel as a roller coaster it started.
Yes.
So, so in the initial days, you were seeing Shiva, and now with the autobiography of the yogi, you were able to see Babaji.
Yes.
So, any other experiences like that, some third eye experiences?
Yes. So, one difference that I would like to say, when I was in Kochi, hardly I used to get any experiences. I used to sit in meditation for longer hours. I used to get experiences as well, but it was not clear. And it was not, I couldn't see the depth of it. When I moved to Hyderabad, my depth in seeing experiences changed. When I moved to Bangalore, oh my God, it was a crystal clear clairaudience or clairvoyant messages. I couldn't understand what changed in me. Just within a month, I was in Hyderabad. In a month, I was in Bangalore. How come experiences are so clear? Then I understood it is the effect of the vibrations around. Kochi is a proper non-veg place. There you have to raise above, you have to raise yourself above the vibrations of the surroundings, and then, transformations happen. Hyderabad was a better place than Kochi, but Bangalore, it's a pure vegetarian city. The energy levels here are very high. So the moment I used to sit in meditation, even when I was not in meditation, I started getting a lot of experiences. So there was a time when I came into meditation, I wanted to see my past lives, and I wanted to, communicate with many other astral masters. It used to happen, but not so clearly. But after coming here, as sir said in today's interview, that once you leave it, you get it. Sir was giving an example where he said that a person, he asked when I will get the moksha, and he said, Narada Muni said, you will get it in 14 janmas, 14 lifetimes. And he said, okay, only 14 lifetimes, fine. And that was the moment he got enlightened, he got liberation.
Right.
So the same thing I could say it has happened to me when I came here, because of the knowledge that I got after coming here, that past lifetimes matter, but it doesn't matter that you have to go and see. If it comes to you, see it. It is not of that much relevance. So all those things I just left it. After coming here, my focus shifted towards work. So experiences started flowing towards me.
Mm-hmm.
So there were many experiences, I would say, in where I got after I came to Bangalore. Whatever I experienced, I used to listen from others. Within that day or next day, I used to get that experience.
Okay.
Like I heard about Akashic records through the sessions. I didn't believe, I didn't disbelieve, because at that time I didn't knew even what was my capability to look into the other dimensions. That day in my dream, I saw the Akashic record. Once from one of the pyramid masters, I heard the experience of leviation, that the body gets leviated to a height, and that is a siddhi, and it happened with many pyramid masters as well. After that day when I was sleeping, when I woke up, I saw, where am I? I felt like I was above.
Oh.
But again, those all things were for a fraction of a second. Then yes, many of my past lifetimes, and whomever I used to meet, their past lifetimes used to easily get revealed to me. It's not that I used to sit in meditation. When I used to talk to them, it used to get revealed. Then I understood, okay, when time comes, if there is a need, things gets revealed that way. So in this way, there were many experiences when when there was a tough time, or the hours of confusion. Many times I got messages from astral masters on how to proceed here in this life. So there were many experiences. I cannot list this one or that one. There were many experiences.
I always think about an experience where I heard from a friend, like people just urge to get masters in their dreams and meditation experience, but once a master had come, and they're like, okay, go away, I'll get the message later, or I'll hear from you later. Because when we heard that statement, I said, Bapre, people used to just wait for such moments, and I think she is continuously getting so much of experiences. And how was it so? So that fascinated me a lot when I heard it.
I thought you would take this point. You always tease me on that, but let me tell you, Shalini, at that time I did not have so much. I was a little ignorant as well, and also I couldn't say ignorance, but certain situations happened in the life at that time in my office career. I just came home back and I was sleeping. So it was that time, in that phase of life with Gautam Buddha, I used to have a lot of experiences. So it was like whenever I used to have any questions, automatically at that phase he used to connect a lot. He used to give his messages. So one day I was so much overwhelmed, not overwhelmed, I was so much lost in my emotions. I was sleeping and I was thinking what to do next, how to solve this problem of the career and all. I was so much lost in it that when I suddenly turned, I saw Gautam Buddha there. He was there, he was looking at me. And then I was like, okay, wait, okay, I'll talk to you again. It was not that I said, no, go away. No, I just said, I'll talk to you again. I'm in a different situation, in a different zone. And I turned back. Then, but immediately, within a fraction of a second, I was thinking, what am I doing? A master has come, and is this my arrogance or ignorance that, I have turned my face off? Then I immediately turned and he was still there. Then I said, yes, please give me your message. So this part is also there where I asked him the message, and I do not remember what he has told that time, but immediately, I think within a fraction of a second, I turned back. It was not that, masters come and like, no, it's not at all like that. I'm very much humble, and I'm very much grateful for their presence and for their timely guidance. It's because of, I would say, many messages that I got from masters, I'm today so much connected with Patriji. Initially seeing many gurus, many teachers, I was always thinking, who's the right guru, who's the right teacher, is there a concept so? But many times, Be Mahavatar Babaji, Gautam Buddha, Jesus Christ, all these people, astrally, they told me that Patriji is the master of masters, he is the guru of gurus, and he is there in my life. I should only be with him, only listen to him, and if he says something, there should not be a second thought, and I should just follow it. So that was through many of the masters' guidance also, I am today where I am. So I am very much humbly, I bow to them for all their timely messages.
So like every drop makes an ocean. So even in spite of your physical or materialistic situation, I wanted to express, like, when the spiritual masters appear, they were so patient and they were like just waiting for you. So I wanted to emphasize on that. So I'm happy that in spite of however your moods were, but they were there with you.
Yes, they are always ready to connect. They always want to give their messages. Even I was surprised that after I turned back and I turned this side, they were there. They are always there. They always wait. They are always ready to support us. They wait to give their guidance to us. It's only that we have to be open to them. So,
Correct, good. So how your works, how you start contributing through your works to PSSM?
So before I moved to Bangalore, that time itself I started contributing first to Spiritual Science Museum website, and whatever sir's messages was there, I started translating it. Whatever sir's speeches I used to convert into text, and all those things I used to do. After coming here, to be very honest, my focus shifted much more on learning new things than on works. Initially, as I told you, there was a burning desire in me to work. But once actually, when the entire platform got open to me, my burning desire shifted towards gaining more knowledge. So initially, I think 1 year or 2 years, I was working, not believing in myself that I could work. I couldn't understand how did even sir gave me responsibility of websites. But I used to just do it, continue working wherever possible, whatever opportunities used to come, I used to take them up. And again, I would say that time, yes, I used to work, but it was only for the sake that everyone is working, and if we work, definitely there's going to be some progress which I do not know.
Yes, Ravya.
So before getting into the answering your question about the digital movement and what is my role into that, I would like to tell you, in the year 2017, so my as usual works were going on, where I was trying to strike a balance between my spiritual life and my professional life, and it was really going well. One day it so happened that when I was going to my office, I met with a small accident. And it was actually a very minor accident, I would say. And then, but having a conception that we believe in no doctors, no hospitals, no medicines. So I was very adamant that I will not even see the hospital. I went back to my home, and because of meditation, regular practice of meditation, which I didn't do, but because of the belief that with meditation we can solve anything, within 2 to 3 days, I got hurt actually on my leg, and it took almost a week time for me to recover from that pain. I didn't take any medicines, I didn't visit a hospital, nor did I meet any doctor. It went like that, and after a week, the pain really came down, and again I started, being into my regular life. Of course, I was not moving, but I was trying to do works on laptop, watching movies, and I was on total leave. So from the time I joined my office, almost till the first 3 to 4 years, there was no leave at all which I have taken. So almost 1 month I was on leave, and I was enjoying working from home to Pyramid Spiritual Society's movement. But after a time, I thought that okay, now it's a time that I should extend my leave. So, in order to submit proofs, I went to the hospital to take all the x-rays, get a report from the doctor. So, when I went there, doctor insisted to take x-ray to see what is the condition, and he said, actually there is a fracture and you did not address it. So, now you have to undergo surgery. Maybe if you would have come in the initial few minutes, maybe surgery would not have been required, but that was his perception, he was not sure. So, he asked me to undergo surgery. So, I immediately came from the hospital, I came home, I immediately called Patriji and I said, sir, I told you I met with a small accident few days ago, and he was like, yes, have you recovered? And I said, no sir, I went to doctor for getting a medical report so that I could submit, but this doctor is advising for a surgery. But in our principles, there is no doctor, no medicine, no surgery. Now I am worried, I don't know what to do. And then sir said, always there are exceptions. In your case, you have to go, you have to undergo the surgery and you have to come back. And from my childhood, again, there was no time, there was no much incidents which I could remember where I went to the hospitals or I met doctors. So, absolutely, even in my home, there was a policy followed as no medicines, because my parents, they used to say, anything you get, we can heal ourselves with a proper rest, and if we expose ourselves to medicines, more damage will be caused to the body. So, I was not much tuned at all, even a little bit, to hospitals and doctors. So, when sir said this, I asked him, so I have to undergo surgery, there is no other go? He said, no, it is an exception case, you have to go and you have to undergo surgery. And he also said, when we look things from this reality, from a third dimensional reality, we may not understand, we may not see what is lying that time or ahead, but when you look from a big picture, you will understand that whatever is happening with a reason. So, and he said, go undergo the surgery, come back, do not take medicines.
Okay.
So, I was like, okay, then I went to Visakhapatnam, and there I went to the hospital. So, what really surprised me was, first I went for a checkup. So, when I went for a checkup, it was a big queue, since it's a department of, where they take care of the bones. There was a big queue there. Just before I went there, I went into that section to meet the doctor closed the door, and for 10-15 minutes he didn't open the door, and I was wondering what is happening, till all people, the 20-25 people who went before me, they went away. When I came, the door is closed and it's been 15 minutes. At the 15th minute I was thinking, what's happening exactly? I just closed my eyes to see, and I saw that the consciousness of the doctor was getting altered.
Oh.
And I was surprised, what is happening? The moment I saw this, immediately the door was opened. And that doctor, I knew him before also, he was kind of a family friend, and he welcomed and he said, what happened? He saw my x-ray and he said, are you serious? You have a fracture on your leg from 1 month and you didn't come to hospital? And he said, can you walk and show me? And I was like, I'm absolutely fine. And I was walking and I was telling there's no pain at all. Then he said, how did you, what happened? I said, I just fell from the bike. It took me 1 week to recover, come out of the pain, and now I'm absolutely okay. He said, no, you have to undergo surgery. And he gave all the big reports. That is how the hospital works. You go with even this much of problem, they'll ask you to take, all the tests. So then next I went to a different place where I have to take a CT scan, MRI and all those things. When I went there, whoever was there with me, my family members, they started telling, see, you have delayed it a lot. If you would have come on time, you have delayed, and because of this, it may even take 1 year, and they were literally scaring me. And the same people, when they were at home, they didn't speak anything, they were supporting me. And when they were in hospital, they were getting aggravated. That time I understood how the vibrations around us influence the people. Same people at home, they were calmer. Same people at hospital, the fear went inside him, and because of that fear they were speaking.
Okay.
But to be honest, the fear also went inside me because of the words. And I was literally worried. Almost tears were rolling, but I was like, okay, things will get fine. Immediately I sat in meditation to know what is lying up next. And then it is Patriji who came then, and he gave his message to me saying, be bold. Within 2 months you will be back to Bangalore. Trust in the nature and be bold. Everything will be alright. Undergo the surgery. He gave this message again. And then lot of confidence came in me that although I am in a non-PSSM place, although I am in a place of hospital, here it's not my crowd, but still the voice that I heard from Patriji through my inner, that showed me the path next. So then all the tests were over, a day for surgery was fixed, I went to the hospital. I went at night time. When I went there, I was surprised to see, generally hospitals was full of cries, full of worries, but when I went there I saw the hospital was just like any other meditation center. The energies were very high, and I was surprised, how is this thing happening? The nurses, the doctors, everyone who came, they were having a smile on their face, they were treating me very well, and then there was not even a single cry I was hearing around. I went to the room, I took rest, and my aunt who was with me, she meditated there for the whole night, and she said it happened without her awareness. Then I saw Sir's presence there around.
In the hospital?
In the room where I was there.
Okay.
Then next day, it was almost 1 o'clock, my surgery was scheduled in the afternoon, and in the morning, I was reading, I was going through Facebook where I heard a master's experience that he came into meditation. It was not even a week he came into meditation, he met Patri sir, then he met with an accident, then he underwent a surgery, and during his surgery, he saw that Sir's consciousness, it literally, it was there with him throughout the surgery, and then he came out through the surgery, like everything was over successfully. Then I was thinking, he is a newbie to meditation, not even a week, and Sir, he experienced Sir's energies. Then I immediately closed my eyes, I requested Sir, please be with me. This is a time where I really need you. For me, this is a tough phase in my life, so I want your presence with me. And I saw a vision where a surgery was going on. I was there on the bed. There were almost 4 doctors and around 8 nurses around me, and a consciousness came, Patriji's consciousness, and it was split into all the doctors and nurses.
Wow.
This was my experience which I saw. But I was thinking, this is a very small surgery. Why will so many doctors and nurses be there? But then the time of surgery came. I went. The moment I was going there, until then my friends were there, my family was there, who was giving me support, saying, yes, you can go, you can do it, don't be nervous. But the moment I was going to the OT, the surgery room, I understood one thing, that maybe this is what even life teaches. When you come here, you are alone. When you leave, you are alone.
Correct.
When I was going into the surgery room, I was alone. That phase, that particular phase, only I had to face it. There was no one with me. Although they wanted to support me, they cannot come in. So then I understood the life struggle is also like this. Not struggle, the learnings. Finally, when we go alone. Then anesthesia was given and I slept. Very naturally the sleep came and I couldn't hear anything after that. Suddenly when I woke up, when my eyes got opened, they were telling me, if you want, you can see the entire process in the monitor. And I was like, no, please leave me. I don't want to see anything. And I slept. The moment I opened my eyes, I saw that I exactly saw those many number of doctors and those many nurses.
Which was in your vision?
Which was in my vision few hours ago. And then I was searching, where is Sir's consciousness? And to my surprise, I saw it's not a consciousness which came and which split, but the entire surgery room, which was almost this big, entire room was filled up with Sir's consciousness. That is when I felt I am in the safest hands, in the safest place, and I aram se went back to sleep.
Wow, wow.
So then the surgery happened, I came back. Then another challenge started. Where for every 2 hours people were coming giving me medicines. They wanted me to take medicines, but I cannot take medicines because sir told and I cannot take medicines. So whatever medicines were coming in my hand, the challenge was I can't even move to throw it away.
Correct.
So I was making some of the other things, to just hide it, or I was just playing some games not to take the medicine. So I did not take any medicine, and I was being very patient enough, and I wanted to go back to my home. But my parents did not allow. They were saying, no, you have to stay here, and for 5 days I stayed there.
In the hospital.
In hospital, I had to stay, whereas the next day itself I could move away. Then that day I understood. That's why Patri sir says that, doctors, hospitals, it's all not right.
The vibrations.
So after I went there, I had to stay there for 5 more days because of the insistence of my parents. I stayed there patiently because it was not my say. After a moment, the control went out of my hand. So I was patient enough, and I started reading books.
But how are you able to deny the medicines?
Whatever medicines came, I just played some games. I asked them to give them water, or I asked them to give something else, and I just ensured they went here and there, and I told I had my medicines. Of course, I think they didn't trust me, but they had no other option than listening to me. So yes, after that, after a few days I came back home, and after I came back home, it was exactly 40 days I stayed there, and every day there was some or the other change in my body. One day I was having fever, one day I was having rashes, one day it was a stomach pain, one day this pain, that pain. Every day some or the other pain was coming in. It was a struggle, that 41 days, to be very honest. But again, in the right time I heard that when in this body you experience a lot of pains, that is when the soul grows there to a greater extent. So I accepted it, because obviously first of all I had no other option, and I accepted it heartfully. Okay, let me undergo this phase, let me finish it as soon as possible. Let this chapter be over, so that I don't have to face it again. And I was sure that whatever was happening was because of my past karma. 41 days happened, then the doctor suggested undergo physiotherapy. And then already I was 40 days there. I got tuned to that place, everything was changed. So I thought, okay. I asked him how many days more. He said 1 more month. I was like, fine, 1 more month, let me be here. And then I'll directly go to DMC, Dhyana Mahachakram, because it was happening in the month of almost November. So that day, I got a call from sir in the midnight, 12:30.
Oh.
And sir was asking, what's happening? And I said, sir, everything is fine now. Surgery is over, 40 days is over, here my bed rest is over. Now doctor has asked for physiotherapy. I'll get my physiotherapy done and I'll come in the next month. Then sir said, are you mad? Are you going to undergo the physiotherapy? Don't you know that a meditator and a master doesn't require a physiotherapy? Physiotherapy is for a common man. For you, for any meditator or a master, you do not need physiotherapy. Through the energy of which we gain through meditation, we will cure ourselves. And he said, what are you still doing in Visakhapatnam? Go back to Bangalore. And I was like, okay sir, fine. And again, the day I went there, I booked my return ticket because that was my desperation towards coming back to Bangalore. So it was the very next day, and situation so happened that sir was also coming to Bangalore the very day where I was landing to Bangalore.
Okay.
So I said, sir, I'll meet you, and he said, yes, you have to come and meet me. And that is when Pure Minds inauguration, Pure Minds Technologies inauguration happened. So I met sir there, and after that day, again I would say a new phase started in my life. After that, sir came and he went. 1 week was a settling period. After that, many projects got initiated. It is not me who initiated it consciously, but many things got initiated, like Patriji's regular schedules, PSSM WhatsApp number, verbal codes, Patriji's codes projects, and slowly from SSM I started taking care of all websites of PSSM, and face to face with Patriji got initiated. many projects, it started happening. If it was the older me, I wouldn't have done it. But the me who has, after the phase of that surgery happened, that accident and surgery, there was a total change in my energies. And many works got initiated. There was no time in for even to think. The works were just happening through me. And it almost many projects got initiated and it went very well. And then there was a project where, we were collecting all the centers which was there throughout the world.
Yeah.
And when I started the project, I remember I asked sir, shall we do it? Every project before I start, I used to ask sir, because I didn't wanted to invest my energy and time in a project which is not needed.
Correct.
So for every project, I took approval from sir. So when I said, sir, there's a project, centers project, where I want to collect the team, we all want to together collect all the centers, our centers which is there throughout the world. And sir said, it's a fantastic project, it has to be done and it has to be done this time. You do it. I started it. When I was collecting data from different masters, everyone told, it's an impossible project, you cannot do it, it's almost, next to impossible and it may not happen, but anyway, all the best. It was like, there Shubhkamna was there with me. So we all started it and we all started the project. Within 6 months, every month I used to give updates to sir. Sir, he gave me a plan. First start with Tamil Nadu, go to Karnataka, go to Kerala, North, he gave me a route map, how to cover.
Okay.
After some days he said, enough with India, start with international. In international also, what all things needs to be covered, all the countries he was giving me. So, as sir gave, all the countries I finished. And one day sir was in US, I remember, I called him and I said, sir, India all these states are finished, international all these countries are finished, what next? And sir said, what next? Project is over. And I was surprised that we were successfully able to, collect the data of the centers with their address and their contact numbers.
Okay.
So it was a good achievement for the entire team. So a lot of people has supported to the project. To start with, yes, Ayappa, then Ravindra, Gautami, Sindhu, Ramu and Krishna. He is the king of pyramids everywhere, so he supported a lot for collection of how do I contact and approach people. And then Anita helped me with the collection of Vijayawada centers. Then technically, yes, we had a very good team in Pure Minds. So the employees has really, there's an employee who joined us. His name is Sriram. He joined us in Pure Minds and he was a non-vegetarian, but after he joined the company, he turned into a vegetarian. Now he is doing a spiritual agriculture in his own field. So we were very lucky to have him as our, a part of the company. So he developed a totally new software. So whatever projects we were doing, IT wise, technical wise, Ayappa and Sriram, they were supporting. And so the entire group, the Bangalore, the people who were here, Balaji, yes, he was the founding pillar for this project initially. Ayappa, Balaji and Ravindra, all these people, they gave me, directions, how do we collect things. So with their guidance and of course with guidance of Patriji, this was one of the projects which I liked the most because something impossible has happened. Then there was a project of verbal codes where we extracted 1-minute concepts of Patriji. At that time, PMC was just about to start. So that time, this 1-minute concepts were like, we should say it was a great project because 1 minute you see and you get the entire saram. So it was a great project. Again, got
just like a cherry on the cake.
Yes,
you give the gist like that.
Yes, so almost we have, I think, nearly 100 verbal codes were published, near to 100. Still, the project is on. And yes, when we started, when Patriji's quotes were there, almost I think 60 to 70. But after I saw it, I thought, okay, let's with the help of the team, let's develop this. And now we almost have 800 to 1000 quotes of Patriji, which started with 80 and now it's almost near to 1000. So first of all, thanks to Patri sir a lot. Whenever he comes to Bangalore, he corrects. Every time a set of 100, set of 50, it gets started. So we used to hear to all sir's videos, audios, and from there we used to convert all the text and we used to bring it to the form of quotes. So initially I was worried, maybe it would be striked off, but I was surprised. Sir used to make a lot of corrections and he used to encourage a lot to go forward and to publish it. Similarly, whatever sir's concepts used to come in Dhyana Jagat magazine, we used to translate it to English because those concepts were very unique. And later they were again shifted to quotes, concepts. In this way, many projects were initiated and many projects went forward. After 2 years, I was wondering, what has changed in my life that so many projects suddenly got initiated? I am a person, I am a laziest fellow on this earth. How come so many projects happened? Because my energies are not those energies. I knew my energies from my childhood. And so I was wondering what happened, what exactly happened. And that is when I understood. When I met with the accident, at that point, for 2 to 3 seconds, I got unconscious. In my life, I never got unconscious. When the accident happened, just 2 to 3 seconds, something just went from me. And I was conscious enough and it came back to me. Something happened in those 2 to 3 seconds. So later I understood that a consciousness, a higher consciousness was actually getting, it was actually walking into me. So when the accident happened, a bit of the consciousness in the total consciousness came inside. And during the time of surgery, when the entire consciousness walked in directly through the skin, because in the surgery, the cuts and all happens. So that is when the entire consciousness happened. So because a consciousness shift was there, a higher consciousness has entered, that is when, suddenly my entire focus turned towards work. And whenever I used to meet sir, he used to tell that, you have to bring down the multi-dimensional tasks which is there. And I was surprised, sir, multi-dimensional tasks, what are they? Then sir said it would get revealed to you with the time. But remember, bring all the multi-dimensional tasks which are there, bring it down. Of course, I didn't understand what he was saying completely, but I knew something was there. So because of this accident, first of all, what I learned is, we create our own reality, but the law of karma governs us.
Correct.
Whatever we have done, we have to definitely pay for it, or we will reap the benefits. So yes, our desires, definitely, it curves our path, but the law of karma, finally it takes over. So with then, a great change happened, transformation, a perception change that, okay, things happen as it has to happen. So in that time, whatever best I could do, I have to do it. So yes, so many works happened. It was a great change in my life. And again, it is in the year 2019 when sir asked me to write an article for Spiritual India magazine. It was almost I was about to write. And then again another incident happened in my life. Again I met with a small accident, but not a major one, a very small one. And again a break came to that, to writing an article. And I thought, okay, again whenever sir asks, let me write it. After a year, just I think in the last year, in the month of November 2019, it so happened that because of a pyramid master Sindhu, she introduced me to the book Anastasia. She was telling that Patriji is reading this book right now. Then I asked her what is the star, and we met one day for lunch, and she told me the entire book just in half an hour, and she said, this is the book. The moment she was telling me about the book was the moment I was connecting to all those dimensions very naturally. Every book, yes, I don't connect, maybe a little bit I connect, but this book, even though we were in a restaurant, it was like, I was there in that Russian place. I was thinking, what is happening? Is this book so powerful? I mean, certain message it's trying to give me.
You were experiencing a kind of a 4D movie.
Yeah. So after this, after the entire, the gist was finished, I went home. I decided I'll read the book. I took the printout and I started reading it, and there were many experiences due course of time. There were a lot of experiences which I got because of reading that book. And again, it almost took few weeks, and then the next book which came into PSSM was The Thousand Seeds of Joy by Anand Karanesh. So then I understood, I got the information that sir is reading that book, and sir started promoting that book. So it's like I have to quickly finish this book, only then I can start the book, because one of the experiences in my life which I got in meditation was, when we start a book we have to complete it. If we leave it, again we will not get an opportunity to complete that book in this lifetime. That was my experience. So from that day I decided, whatever book I take, I have to finish it, whatever is the reason. So I just sat that day as a yagna and I was reading that book so that I will finish it. I was on the last page of the book and the book was over. I kept it aside, and after some time, when I was just about to start the next work, a strong feeling to see how Anastasia looks was coming in me, but I was merely observing it. I'm never a person who wants to see who's behind the scenes. I immediately googled and I saw her face. I was like, okay, she looks like this, good. And I couldn't even touch the next book. I was just sitting and I was working. It is then when I saw Anastasia, she was just sitting next to me. I saw her and I was like, okay, because many masters come, we sense them, they leave. So I was like, okay, there's some reason why she has come, or because I'm reading the book, she has come here. After some time, I saw her to my left. I was like, okay, fine. After some time, I was sitting here and I saw she was in the kitchen. I was thinking, what's happening? And after some time, she was again back here. I was just sensing her everywhere. I was seeing her everywhere. Then I understood, okay, she's trying to give some message. That's why she's appearing again and again. Then I just kept the books aside and I said, yes, please tell me, what is that you want to convey? And that is when I saw 1,000 Anastasias in my room.
Oh.
I was like, okay, what is the message that you want to give? Through that experience, she was giving me a message that we are not just in this physical body, but we are a multi-dimensional beings. That is why she has multiplied herself, and through that she was giving her message. Then I said, okay, I got it. Fine, I took the message, and then she said, I want you to spread about my book to the entire Pyramid Spiritual Society's movement. And I said, I am a very small player in this entire movement. Through me spreading to the entire movement I would try, but I am not sure how much it would go to the entire movement. Then she said, you have to do it, it's my request. And I was like, fine, okay, I'll do it. And then the day was over, I forgot. Suddenly, next day when I was working, suddenly I remembered about, I read a book yesterday and this was the experience. So immediately, as we were in a WhatsApp group called as Patriji group, so I just posted my experience there. And that time, Sri Lakshmi, she was there in Bali with a trip with sir. So it so happened that she was with sir, she read my experience and she immediately showed it to sir. Sir read my experience and sir was asking, really? Did she really see Anastasia with her physical eyes? And she said, that's what she's saying. And sir said, connect my call to her. And then sir called me and he asked me, what is your experience? I want to hear in detail. And till then, I don't remember any of the incident where I told my experiences to sir, because I heard many times that all the pyramid masters, they are great masters, everyone have great third eye visions, everyone has physical eye vision. Before them, everybody is like, when you see others you feel I am nothing. Correct. And I also heard from our masters that sir gives first importance to work over anything. So whenever I used to meet sir, the only discussion which used to happen between us was regarding to works. So I never had I never expressed any experiences to him. But that day I was surprised. Sir was asking, tell me your experience in detail. I want to listen to the minutest aspect. So I told him all the experience that I underwent through the book. And then sir said, it's a great experience and I want this experience to get published in Spiritual India. So that is how one more time sir asked me to give an article, and I was very overwhelmed that after coming to Bangalore, I heard many people that their article has come to the magazine, and it was like a moment I was waiting in a phase of my life where sir would ask me to write an experience. After that again I forgot about it very obviously. But when sir asked, I remembered that, oh yeah, this was what I wanted once upon in my life and this is what I got. So I gave the article and then yes, there was a tremendous response I received from many people. I got many new friends after this article went through Spiritual India magazine. So again, I want to express my gratitude to Sai Kumar sir, to Venu sir, who has corrected the article, who got it out. So after this incident, yes, after certain days, Corona started, the pandemic started, and by then, although we were in the movement, mostly the prachara from our side, from the Bangalore team side, it happened through websites, through YouTube, through WhatsApp. So even though this pandemic started, there was no much change in my life, because I am not a person who moved from center to center, road to road, rallies and all. No, I was always on the digital media platform promotions only. So, but yes, whatever work, the question which you have asked, how this in this pandemic, how did the digital promotions and how did that digital era happen? So for that I would like to say all the previous years of works, the website works, the YouTube works, and almost all the social media, whatever was there, we were there everywhere. So I had a fair knowledge of all those things, and when this pandemic started, it was all this database of WhatsApp number, PSSM official WhatsApp number, YouTube channel, websites, through all these things, already a big network was created, was already established. And whatever sir's daily messages, other masters' messages, so many PMCs has come. Promotion of all these things was very easy for us because network was there. It's only spreading of the message. And I would say that after this pandemic started, before all the early 5 years, whatever network we have gathered, it's almost the same network we have gathered in the next 3 months, 3 to 4 months. So many people came. You yourself have experience how whatever YouTube, whatever video we used to release, so many likes, so many views used to come, and many people started attending meditation online. Yes, it's absolutely need of the hour. So in that way, yes, it was great to see all the masters have started giving their sessions online. I was surprised to see that okay, so many masters are there, and so many had that the right knowledge. When we see out of maybe 1,000 pyramid masters, hardly we communicate to few. About rest of the people we don't know, but thanks to this age, this phase where everyone came forward and they expressed, and it was such a joy to listen to all of them. For me, it was a great time listening to sir every alternate day, listening to every pyramid master, their experiences. I remember in the when it started, you started with the Untold Story of Sita in Pyramid Valley YouTube channel. So I enjoyed watching all masters' videos. I used to watch everyone, and it was a great joy watching all of them. And then after a certain time passed, when I understood what are the norms of pandemic, when it will end, when I the little things got settled, that is when even I started giving the sessions online in English and Hindi, because those are the two strong points of my entire journey.
Great. So after this COVID, you have come up with a digital sessions like online meditation teaching.
Right.
So it's so great to hear you. And one of my final question, how are you able to balance materialistic and spiritual life? How do you get time for doing so much of projects?
Yes. So initially when I started, it was very tough for me. It was like something out of scope. Many days just used to go out in planning. But as the days passed by, first it was 1 project, 2 projects, 3 projects. After handling so many projects, and for me, as I told you, all the work happens over phone, over laptop. Even Sai Kumar sir, he says, whenever I used to call him for getting the schedules, he used to say, what are you doing? How come you are calling me from your workplace and getting all the schedules? So I started striking a balance. So initially when I joined my company, I learned everything there, the best of to the best of my potential. So in the initial 6 months, I would say I learned what I have to learn in the next 5 to 6 years. I was under a manager who used to literally give all that works to me. So I used to do my job, my immediate seniors' works, and even my manager's works. So first 6 months, I was in a thirst to see what the IT company is. So in those 6 months, I learned a lot. It was almost morning. I used to go at 6 o'clock. In the night, I used to come at around 11 or 12 o'clock. I invested so much of time in the initial 6 months to understand what is IT. So I understood the documentation part, the main technical part, the reporting part, how do you mingle with others, how do you report to the seniors, how do you get your works done through the juniors, all those things I observed and I learned it. After 6 months, I understood that, okay, it's all a play. I mean, you can handle things very easily. So from then, after 6 months was over, I started playing, a role where I do things and also I get the things done. So all those initial 6 months to 1 year of my crucial training, which I got in Kochi, it helped me later on to delegate works and get the works done easily. And I used to strive a balance. When I was at my office, I used to do both. It was always an online work. If you have a mobile, you can do. So I used to work there, and then I used to come home. It was like complete PSSM dedicated. So initially it was difficult for me, but later I learned it through time how to handle multiple projects.
Great, great. So great to hear you, Shravya, today. And thanks for sharing your whole journey. You have been one of the important gems in this movement.
Thank you.
Because you have contributed so much, as you said, to your utmost potential. You have contributed. So dear friends, I hope you all have enjoyed. Let me say you again, she being an independent woman in Bangalore, working for a corporate company and taking lot of projects in this Pyramid Spiritual Society's movement. She had listed many, and let me add few more what I know about her. She's been a good video editor, she's been a designer, she learned everything out of her own skill and been supporting as much as possible, because we do have a statement, time and tide waits for no man. So she doesn't wait for another person. She doesn't say that I want a team. She, being a single person, learnt everything and started contributing herself. Thank you, Shravya. It is so wonderful having you here and hearing your life journey in detail.
Well, thank you, Shalini, for giving this opportunity. Thanks to Patri sir who insisted on this interview, and I'm very glad that I have shared all my experiences with all of you. So just to add to this, every pyramid master is a gem, and to be very honest, I am not yet satisfied to the kind of works that I have been doing. And as sir says, as Patri sir says, the very quality of the soul is to have dissatisfaction. So I am not so having dissatisfaction, also having this dissatisfaction in my life, through this also I am very much satisfied. And in this journey, I would like to especially thanks our Guruji Brahmarshi Pitamaha Patriji for his constant guidance and support. I have seen no guru like him, to whom you go and you say, sir, I want to do, and he says, yes, you do it. For everything he supports, as generally the support, we may not even get the support from our family, but the kind of support that Patriji has given to me, and as I have seen to all pyramid masters, it is truly appreciable. And that is why, because he is there, this entire movement is there. This beautiful place where the interview is going on, the Pyramid Valley, which is the heaven on earth, this place is there, and many other pyramids have come. So friends, always remember the purpose of your life, why you are here, and be in touch with your own self through meditation. Take this message of meditation, vegetarianism and pyramid power to the whole world. Thank you very much, Thank you, Shalini, for having me here today.
Thank you, Shravya. Thank you, viewers. So we all will meet again with another person to hear their life journey. Bye bye.